Okay, back to Gerald Celente, and I am always amazed when you go on these so-called MSM, the mainstream Wall Street, the Wall Street media. That's really what they are. When you go on the MSM and talk to these people, by now many of them certainly have begun at least privately to figure out that Gerald knows exactly what he's talking about. Do they ever talk to you, look at you, react to you like, oh my, he's right? Or do they play their roles as anchor men and anchor gals and just kind of stick to it? I'm curious because it's so obvious now, Gerald, that you've been right from the beginning. And they may have had you on in years gone by kind of as, I don't want to say comic relief, but local color. You know what I'm talking about. And now you could be making them all eat huge 7-course meals of crow. You don't do that. You're too much a gentleman. But I'm curious as to how they handle all this now. Do they try to, some of them, act like, well, we really suspected it all along?
Oh, absolutely. That's the first one they come up with. Well, everybody knew this.
Yeah, sure.
And yeah, it's either everybody knew it or no one saw it coming. And then when you tell them you saw it coming, everybody knew it.
And here's another one that people use. It's a little psychological trick. When they didn't know something and someone says something, they'll say, "You're exactly right." You're totally right. Like they're validating something they already knew through your speech.
Well, actually, we're huge globally. The overseas, matter of fact, I mean, just yesterday, for example, a top German magazine was here and a Russia Today piece.
Oh, neat. You've made, by the way, excuse me, some of your Russia Today interviews have been terrific. They're all terrific, but I think they really do appreciate you.
Well, the global media is very, very interested in what's going on in America, and the only real information they get is the misinformation from the mainstream media. So they don't know what's going on. So when they read the Trends Journal and see what we're doing, they want to know because they know how much of what happens in the United States affects them. And so our popularity overseas, Jeff, is huge. And from you name the country, they're subscribers to the Trends Journal. And the media, again, they see what's going on, and they're wondering, how can this be going on under the eyes and nose of the American people? And for it to keep going, how come they haven't taken to the streets? That's what they're wondering.
Right. Well, some of us used to wonder that, too, until we really got the picture. Americans don't have it anymore, most of them. What you said, though, when things get bad, people lose it. You're right, they do. But I think ultimately, I would be hard-pressed to describe how bad they have to get for people to lose it, to get real angry. Now, that said, you may have seen the story the other day. Americans, and this isn't the majority of Americans, but it is a very vocal and potentially volcanic minority. Americans last year bought enough guns, literally, to equip the entire Indian and Chinese armies.
I didn't know that.
True story. That's how many guns, firearms,
Americans have bought. How much last year?
Last year, that's the story. They bought enough guns, rifles, shotguns, handguns, to equip the entire Indian and Chinese army. I guess that's one firearm per. It seems preposterous, but that was the story. And the point is, Americans bought a hell of a lot of guns last year. I guess we can take it there. Let me see if I can find the story. I've got it up here.
All right. You see, now, we're writing about this in the Autumn Trends Journal, which will be out later this week, and we're forecasting the Second American Revolution. And as we're looking back from 2012 to 2009, we're saying that in 2009, the odds of the people rising up and stepping forward were next to zero. And it was highly unlikely. But what we are seeing now, and of course, anybody that thinks they're going to or has the idea of facing off to the government in armed battle is out of their minds.
Yeah.
All you have to do is look at what happened in Pittsburgh that hardly made the press with these mutant ninja turtles that were armed to the teeth with and testing out new riot control weaponry on the people.
Yeah.
I mean, to face off against these people have to be out of their minds.
Yeah.
So what we're looking for is an intellectual revolution, a revolution of minds, not guns.
A realization that we have been beyond betrayed by those we have elected and sent to Washington to represent us. That's really at the bottom of most of it. Here it is, WorldNet Daily. Joe Farrow ran this. Guns bought this year could outfit 2 armies. This April 30th was the story. April 30th, 2009. Guns purchased legally in the United States this year could outfit 2 armies, and not just any armies, the armies of China and India, according to new government reports cited by a website for sport shooting enthusiasts. The Federal National Instant Criminal Background Check System database statistics show there were more than 3.7 million background checks during the first 3 months of the year, compared to about 8 million annually, not even a decade ago. This is documented by ammoland.com. So WorldNet Daily is reporting some pretty amazing information in terms of firearms. Now this, if it's even half true, I mean, how many people buy firearms every year? The ammunition shortage is supposedly still continuing. The government's trying to make each round now have a serial number on it. There's a big fight about that too. All right, hang on. Back in just a minute with Gerald Celente.